Thank you. Is there a message in it too?
Press F3. Okay. Time.
Gotta let that last chord just ring. Thank you so much for coming this afternoon on this Christmas Eve. I am the Reverend Samaya Oakley, and I use she, her, and hers pronouns. We gather on this Christmas Eve under a star so bright to hear an ancient cosmic story. A story so old that it connects us to the ancestors, just as the old stories of the original peoples on this land do. We acknowledge that we meet and live and love and mourn and laugh and play on Treaty 7 land, land that has been called Mohkinstsis, which is the Blackfoot name for the place where the city of Calgary is located. Stories have been told on this land by the people of the Blackfoot Confederacy. Those are the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, as well as the Dene First Nation Band, the Tsuut'ina, and the 3 bands of the Stoney Nakoda First Nation, the Bearspaw, Chiniki, and the Good Stoney. And let us not forget that this is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. I have found that in my time here that this is a community that is filled with people who truly, and some of you who have been here for a while will hear resonance of something, and I invite you to shout it out when you hear it. We are people who grow in wisdom. We welcome and deepen relationships here. See, truly, you've got it. And we act for a just and sustainable world. And one of the things I really like about our faith, about being a Unitarian Universalist, is I think that we are among the ones who keep Christmas. Christmas is what we want it to be. Christmas is what lives in our hearts and in the expression of who we are in the world. It can be joyful, celebratory, filled with magic, mystery, and awe. If we make it so, we are the ones who can recapture the magic and the mystery of Christmas. We are Canadian Unitarian Universalists who welcome all in our company, whether you are heartbroken, lonely, joyful, content. You are welcome here. If you are Muslim, Christian, Jewish, straight, gay, trans, lesbian, bisexual, you are what? Welcome here. We are a community who welcomes you, all of you, even when you are searching, seeking, and looking for something more meaning, more service, more love. And I'd like to welcome all of the guests that we have among us today. Thank you for taking a chance and being with us on this Christmas Eve late afternoon service. In the words of one of our Unitarian ancestors, Henry David Thoreau, he says, "When I hear music, I am related to the earliest of times and to the latest." And the story of Christmas is just that. So come, let us begin our worship time by opening our hearts to this beautiful Wexford carol that Jane has to have on Christmas Eve. It's not all about Jane tonight, but I'm just saying, that's one of hers, and I'll tell you one of mine when we get to that, just saying. So let's have our prelude now.
Over the last 4 weeks, we have been lighting Advent candles in the spirit of hope, love, peace, and joy. We do this at this time of year, knowing that this time of waiting serves to remind us to enjoy the moment, the now, of our lives. Yes, much is coming. and always we wait. But those things to come will also be now when they come.
Mom, look at you. Just like my daughter's watching. It's seriously so cool. I'm not watching. Watch this. Take this extra phone. I'm trying to get this set up later. Sorry, honey.
As we find ourselves wrapped in the season of wonder and light, the astonishment that is life ignites our spirits, and we feel, if merely for a moment, that we are as we were meant to be. May we hold fast to this sliver of mystery, this truth upon which we set the whole of who we are. May we call ourselves back to it time and again, until we are filled with the wonder that is our life, its hope, its peace, its joy, its love. Infused then with all that we are, may our energies be given to the transformation of this world, from despair into hope, from darkness into light, from fear into love. May we be bold, may we be daring,
Which we are not.
may we be
We
love.
just like the barrels. Oh my God.
Love lights the world this Christmas. Into the bright circle of life and light, which is the Christmas season, we have come, stepping out of our routine ways of living, stepping away from the habits we use as shields. We have come to warm our hearts and minds at the cradle of a child. May something of the beauty, mystery, and promise of this lovely old story fall like silver rain to heal fears and hates and broken dreams. May we summon such rain to restore parched land and weary lives. Once again, we pause, look around, listen, and hear the approach of music, restoring hope, kinship, blessed peace. And now, please lift your voices for our opening song, Christmas is Here.
Good afternoon. Yes, please rise in body or spirit. And this is in a round. So my half of the room will be going first, and Jane's half of the room over there will be going second on this tune. But first we're going to sing it through together twice so you can get a hang of the notes and words here. And then we'll go into our round twice as well. Christmas is here, it's the time of the year to celebrate and be of good cheer. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Christmas is here. Christmas is here, it's the time of the year to celebrate and be of good cheer. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Christmas is here.
All right, I think they always find the best songs. Thank you, Jane and Christian. Rousing rendition of Christmas. I'm Sheila McMaster, Director of Religious Education, and my pronouns are she and her, and I'm excited to bring you a story this Christmas Eve. all about the Snowman by Raymond Briggs. It's a magical time. The snow fell all night long, and when James woke up, he couldn't believe his eyes. He leapt out of bed and rushed to the window, and outside the world had turned a brilliant and glistening white. And quickly he tugged on his clothes and ran downstairs. "Don't forget your boots," Mom said. And James had never seen so much snow. And he played for hours, stamping up and down his garden. And then he started to roll a snowball. And it got bigger and bigger. And soon it was so big, it gave James a brilliant idea. He would make a snowman. And carefully he built the body. Then he rolled another ball for the head. And James ran inside and found a tangerine for the nose and 2 pieces of coal for the eyes and an old green hat and matching scarf. And last of all, James gave his snowman a great big smile. He was perfect. "Time for dinner," Dad called. And all evening James sat by the window so he could gaze at his wonderful snowman. He would have stayed there all night, but soon it was time for bed. As he brushed his teeth, James took one last look at the snowman, and then he snuggled down into bed. "Whew, I hope he's still there in the morning," he thought, and drifted off to sleep. And in the middle of the night, James woke up and remembered his snowman. And he crept down the stairs, and he looked at his snowman, and the most magical thing happened. The snowman came to life. And James shook his snowman's hand, and he said, "Come in," he said. "I'll show you around." "In here," whispered James, opening the living room door. And the snowman loved the Christmas tree, although he thought the fire was a little too hot. And so James took him into the fridge to cool down. And then they explored the rest of the house, and even tiptoed into Mom and Dad's room and tried on Dad's clothes. "Perhaps we'd better go outside," said James. And when they reached the garden, the snowman grabbed James's hand and started to run faster and faster until they were flying. And from all around, they were joined by flying snowmen. And together they flew over the city and out to sea and on until at last they landed at the North Pole. And the snowman led James through the trees towards a clearing. And James couldn't believe his eyes. A large circle of snowmen were gathered, and in the middle was Father Christmas. "Just in time," smiled Father Christmas. "The party's about to start." And what a party it was. And James and the snowman danced all night long. And as the first rays of sunlight appeared over the hills, Father Christmas handed James a parcel. "For me?" James gasped. It was a soft blue scarf, beautifully decorated with snowmen. "Oh, thank you," cried James, and he gave Father Christmas a big hug, and then it was time to go. And James and the snowman soared into the air and flew towards home, and they arrived. It was nearly morning, and time for James to go back to bed. James didn't want to leave his friend, but he knew it was time to say goodbye. And with one last look at the snowman, James went inside and upstairs to bed. Happy and exhausted, he fell asleep. And in the morning, James's first thought was of the snowman. And he jumped out of bed, and he raced down the stairs, past Mom and Dad, and out the door into the garden. But the snowman had gone. The end. And so today, for the kids and youth downstairs, those who want to go downstairs as they sometimes do, we're exploring different holiday traditions around the world. So for example, like in Germany, your gifts show up in your shoes in the morning. Very strange. And after the service, we have delicious cakes and cookies, and we may just have a special visitor. So keep your ears open for the jingle jangle of bells. And now as our final quote, I will say, "May you never grow too old to search the skies on Christmas Eve."
12 Days of Christmas. I know you've sung this many times before, but we're going to make it a little more interesting today, friends. Oh, yes, we are. As there are 12 days of Christmas, so there are also 12 months in the year. Each of you was born in one of those months. And therefore, if you have a January birthday, for example, we would invite you to stand or throw your arms in the air or give us a great big grin as you sing. And we shall sing the whole song. Everybody gets to sing everything. But if you were born in January, that partridge is yours. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me, Liz, a partridge in a pear tree. Now, if you happen to be born, say, in the 7th month, July, a great month in which to be born, you're going to be doing the 7 swans a swimming. So you leap up from your seats or toss your arms in the air or give us a big grin. 7 swans a swimming and stay standing while the 6 geese are laying, the 5 gold, and the partridge, we all sit down. By the time we get to the 12 drummers drumming at the end, everyone in the room, when we get back to the partridge, and everyone on Zoom, because I invite you to do this at home, will be standing and singing together, and a partridge in a pear tree. Any questions? Good, let's sing.
January, on the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 12 lords a-leaping, 9 pipers piping, 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
I follow that?
All right, everybody, I'm going to be reading to you Come Christmas by M. Maureen Killeran. No one is ever really ready for Christmas. If we were really all prepared, if every gift we had contemplated had been obtained, if every present was beautifully beribboned, if all the goodies our friends deserve were baked and cooled and stored just so, if each and every person we love was gathered for our celebration, if we never snapped at someone we care about, nor stopped short of being all that we could be, if our minds were 100% loving and our hearts were 100% generous, then truly we would be ready. And truly, we would not need Christmas quite so much. So, come Christmas, most needed of seasons. Come with the reminder that love does not depend on perfection, but on willingness to risk connection. Come into the unready manger of our hearts, that we may feel the warmth of new life and give flesh to the promise of hope that cries to bring healing into our world. Come Christmas, come love, come hope, be born in our unready hearts on this silent and holy night.
We will now be singing our congregational hymn number 238, Within the Shining of a Star. Within the shining of a star, we catch a glimpse of who we are. In every infant born we see the hope of our nativity, the miracle of each new birth can shake and save the stony earth. Triumphantly the newborn's cry strikes echoes from the waiting sky.
Becoming Christmas by Kayla McClurg. Come, breath of life, let us sink softly into the stillness of this moment. Let the last notes of our hymn and the flickering candlelight wash over us and soothe us and steady us. Let our sweet souls rest for now, knowing that the stars and moon above shine down on us, their light providing constancy in a world filled with uncertainty. We come into this Christmas Eve from a year that has been turbulent at best, and through it all, we've known love and loss, we've known joy and grief, and we've seen justice prevail and justice denied. We've enjoyed days where everything flowed together and made sense, and those days next where confusion and sadness reigned. Friends, each and every one of those feelings, each and every one of those moments creates a life, your life. How do you choose to be in this world? Do you allow yourself to see an angel anytime, anywhere, in the form of a star or a butterfly, in the guise of a newborn babe or a person without a home? Where is the angel voice pulling you? Closer to yourself, to your community, to your God? Will you allow yourself to be pulled by love so great, pulled into a place of possibility, pushed away from fears and distrust or apathy, will you allow the angel voice to pull you more fully into your life, to find the places and spaces to become that you who is filled with light, whose heart sings the song of hope and love and courage, whose hands are busy with the work of healing the world? Breath of life, hold these dear people in our room. Let them know love and companionship and goodness. May we be reminded that this night and every night of our lives is a holy night. As I ring this gong, we're going to enter into a time of silence, about 2 minutes or so, and then I'll ring the gong again. And when I do, we'll enjoy a beautiful rendition of O Come, Emmanuel.
O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart bid cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. O come, you splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. O come and turn all hearts to peace, that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell. Oh, come, you day spring, come and cheer our spirits by your presence here, and dawn in every broken soul as vision that can see the whole. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as light to dwell. Oh, come, you wisdom from all high, from depths that hide within a sigh, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act a prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as hope to dwell.
In case you didn't know it, you all sound wonderful. Just saying. I know this is a congregation that loves to sing. And now, a reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. This particular section is entitled The Birth of Jesus, and it comes from the New International Version of the Bible. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place in a while. Quirinius was the governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who he was pledged to be married and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in clothes and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will bring you great joy for all the people. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord." That's the end of the scripture passage. And that's the image and the story that we like to hear, and somehow that has become what Christmas is all about. But the story goes on. After Mary gives birth in a cattle shed among the muck and the mud and the smell, they're forced to travel as refugees because of oppression and violence. And so they travel off towards safety. They travel off to a foreign country, and behind them is cruelty and death and destruction. And all they can do is move forward with uncertainty to a place that they've never been. They've had to leave behind the security of knowing who they are in a place to a place where the language and the customs are different. I don't know about you, but if I was in that place, I'd be pretty terrified myself. And if any of you are refugees here in this room, or for those of you who have supported refugees, you have an inner glimpse to this story that I and many others who have not had to flee a place do not. For Mary and Joseph, they make this trip because, according to the cosmic story, they hold within their arms the hope of the world, Jesus, the one who will bring a reign of peace. And you gotta wonder, though, if the one who made all that is could have managed it just a little better, well, actually a lot better. I mean, really, at the very least, they could have at least had a one-star place as opposed to a cattle shed. I mean, after all, it is the bringer of peace that's being born. Instead, the bringer of peace comes about in the form of this tiny, vulnerable baby, born in love, born in a time and a place when so much could have gone wrong. And then he travels in the arms of his loving parents through Gaza to Egypt, in the dirt, in the danger. This cosmic story of the birth of the Great One is one that we in the Western world hold on to as our creation story. It starts with a creator whose name is love and who longs to be in relationship with creation. And when I say creation, I mean all of creation, the plants, the four-leggeds, those who swim, those who fly, and yes, us human beings. It's a story where love showers down upon the earth, the kind of love that's patient and kind, the kind of love that's undefended, vulnerable, the love that's born in social scandal, poverty, homelessness, and persecution. It's the love that is recognized by those who are poorest and most despised, recognized by foreigners, outsiders. It's the kind of love that shows itself in the kindness of ordinary people like you, and you, and you, and you. So what does this story mean for us today, living in this 22nd century, a time when we are also looking to escape the bonds of persecution and looking to undo the bonds of oppression that exist within ourselves and in our institutions? And are you hearing remnants of our 8th principle in that? How do we make meaning of this story for who we are today? One of the things that I hope for is that the story reminds us of the suffering and the oppression of so many around us. It's ironic, isn't it, that we celebrate the birth of this vulnerable baby at this time of year when on the very land where apparently that story took place, we feel the grief of the Israelis whose loved ones were killed, taken hostage, or injured on October 7th. On the very land where hundreds of thousands of people living in present-day Gaza are living with continued bombardment of their homes and their hospitals. Thousands of men and women and children have died. It's a decades-old, centuries-old conflict that is merciless, and we seem to be incapable of finding a solution that brings any kind of lasting peace. If we follow the story to its conclusion, we find that this babe lived in a time when he walked on those same paths that people living in Gaza today walk on, if they can find them. Jesus lived at a time when there was oppression. He knew oppression. He knew what it was like to suffer. We take time each year to remember this 2,000-year-old story to help us make new meaning of the troubles of our world. The story invites us to remember it, to not be paralyzed by it, to not be paralyzed by our grief, and not be numb to the suffering of others. Instead, I think the story invites us to become active participants in life and in this world. It invites us to look around us today, to become aware of those who are living in our communities who find life overwhelming, who are living with oppression and persecution. This story reminds us to become aware of those in our communities and our lives who are in difficulty. You know, the ones who are trying, in the midst of their grief and their trauma, to regather the broken fragments of their lives and begin to rebuild. I think the story invites us to be the love that is recognized by those who are poorest and most despised, recognized by foreigners and outsiders. We are invited to be the love that shows itself in kindness. Let us be among the ones who reach out with love this season and always. Let us be among the ones who build the bonds of friendship so that when the time comes to act for peace, We are with a multitude of people who are willing to do the same. Let us be among the ones who embody peace on earth. Let us be the love that is free and undefended, the love that weaves its silent path through the suffering of the earth, finding paths of hope and peace in the midst of deep conflict and a troubled world. It may look weak, but I promise you this: it is the most powerful force in the universe. Love comes down. That is the meaning of Christmas. That is the reason why we say, Merry Christmas. Amen. Namaste. May it be so. And this is my song, by the way, just saying.
Feel free to sing along. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appears and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine. Oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine. Oh, night. Oh, night divine.
For this is Christmas Eve by Tracy Pullman. Christmas Eve is a time for candlelight. It is a time when one desires nothing more than friends, family, and soft music. Who can say what passes through our hearts on Christmas Eve? Strange thoughts, undefinable emotions, sudden tears. All this and more unbidden come without reason. And we light our candles, for this is Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is a time not to be merry, but quietly glad. It is the proper time to wish upon a star. It is the time to watch children with excited eyes troop off to bed to await the miracle of dawn. It is a time of wonder, of thankfulness that life is still being created anew out of darkness. It is a time of quiet awakening to beauty that still lives on through the strife of our war-torn world. And we light our candles, for this is Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is a time of heartbreak, when those who are not at their firesides are most missed. Christmas Eve is a time of blessing, when all the heartbroken world gives thanks for the quiet beauty of rest, when one is closest to one's companions and is not then an enemy to any person. And we light our candles, for this is Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is a time of memory when one remembers past happiness and love and often sighs for the good that might have been. Peace on earth. And now comes the memory of the story of the first Christmas, so old and yet so new. It lives again in the memory of human hearts. And we light our candles, for this is Christmas Eve.
It has become tradition in many Unitarian Universalist congregations to end the Christmas Eve service with singing of Silent Night, with the lights dimmed, and we light our candles one by one as we sing the song. But before we do that, if you do not have one of these in your hand, please raise your hand so that Samir can make sure that you have one. And I'm going to give you a lesson in candle lighting 101. So, I will start. Marika, just a moment. I'm going to just... So, we all have a tendency when we have the flame that we want to go like this and light. No, 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 no. If your candle is lit, it remains upright like this. It is the job of the person with the unlit candle to bring the wick over and light the candle like so. Have you got it? All right, we're going to be testing you, okay? I'm watching. No, I won't be. I will be enjoying this very precious moment with you. My first Christmas Eve with you. Hopefully many more to come. Let us begin.
Always
standing throughout the benediction and chalice lighting, extinguishing. Woo. I promise they're short. I close this Christmas Eve service with words by Howard Thurman. May they hold you well as you all observe and hold the cosmic story of the birth of Jesus. When the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and the princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among others, and to make music in the heart.
As we extinguish the chalice this evening, I invite you to extinguish the flame of your candle and then imagine the flame going out into this room as sparks of light, gently raining down on us all, surrounding us in love like a soft blanket. On these dark days, this blanket of love is ready for you to wrap yourself in. Use it to recall the promise of peace on this night of mystery, illumined with stories and songs. Use this light to rekindle your own, so that you can help to bring more light into the world. Happy holidays, everyone.